Hi, thanks a lot for coming into my kitchen. This is Jill for today. We are going to make some delicious no-knead crusty dinner rolls. 4 ingredients, and that includes the water. It's a super simple recipe. You will be so surprised. If you are a beginning baker, you are in the right place. And if you're an experienced baker, you will see how simple this recipe is. So let's get started. In my bowl here, I have some all-purpose flour. I didn't have bread flour, which I normally use, but all-purpose flour works just as great. So I have some all-purpose flour in there, and I'm going to put in some yeast, and I'm going to put in some salt. And a lot of people say don't do that, don't put them in there together, but I've never had any problems. So this is how I do it. I separate them. And then I'm just going to give this a good stir to make sure that yeast and salt is all within that flour. We want it to be mixed in really well. I think that's good. Now we're going to add some really warm water, really warm. I mean, it's not scalding, but it's pretty warm. You just want to get some good semi-hot tap water, you know, from your sink. So we're going to mix this up. Now this is going to maybe not be the texture that you might imagine when you're making bread dough. I can already smell that yeast, believe it or not. I smell that coming up right now. And it's going to be what they call a shaggy dough. And as you can see, this is a shaggy dough. It's not dry, right? But it's not super wet. It's just well, it is. It's just a shaggy dough. It's very wet, you know, to touch. But as you can see, it doesn't look very wet. It's kind of a funny spot for it to be in. It's not one way and it's not the other. So I've got all that flour mixed in there. As you can see, I'm going to give it a couple more turns here. I think that looks like all that flour has been combined. I'm going to pull that up a little bit. But there's no kneading. This is it. This is really how simple it is. This took, what, all of 5 minutes at the most. And that's, you know, gathering your ingredients. Yeah, see how that looks now? I'm going to bring this up here so you can see it. It's just kind of a, well, it's kind of dry / wet. I guess that's the best way to describe it. I'm going to put some plastic wrap over this and set it aside so it has a chance to rise. It'll take about 2 hours. We want it to double in size. And if your home is warm, you can leave it on the counter. If it's cold, you know, if you're having some cold, you can set your oven light. Don't turn the oven on, but your oven light. And that will give you a nice warm environment that your dough can rise in. So I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap, going to set it aside, and we'll be back in 2 hours. It has been about 2 hours, and this is pretty much doubled in size. And it's very, very fluffy. It's very sticky now, as you can see. So what we need to do here is we need to deflate this, which you can use a spatula, something of that nature. And we're just going to break that down a little bit. And before we start, you know, making these into rolls, we're going to be adding some more flour so we can manage it pretty well. And I'm going to put a little bit on here right now and turn it over. And I'm going to add a little bit more so we have a little ability to handle it without having it stick all over us. I'm going to bring a breadboard in here, cutting board. Here we are. And I'm going to make sure if you can see me there. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. I think that's better for you. And I'm going to add some flour to this board. And I'm going to bring this dough out. It's a beautiful dough. It's nice. Smooth. It's very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. And again, I'm going to just kind of roll it over in that flour just so we can handle it a little better. It's getting a little less sticky there. I'm going to add just a little bit more flour. I would say probably that's an additional ½ cup. I would say something along that line. So I'm going to now just pat it down, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting this into, well, I'd say 8. If you wanted smaller rolls, you could do 10. These will make, well, they're not the size of a hamburger bun, but about that as far as the diameter goes. Okay, we are ready to go there on that. And I'm going to flour my hands a little bit. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to just start rolling it and kind of pinching it off at the bottom. Trying to smooth that out a little bit, as you can see. Yeah, that's looking nice. And it's still just a little tacky, but it's going to be just fine. And I'm going to bring a breadboard in here, or excuse me, a cookie sheet, which I have lined with parchment paper. I can get myself a little more room here for you. And I'm going to set it here on this parchment paper. And I will do another one for you. And then once I have these done, as I said, it should be 8. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 8. And once I have this done, I will bring you back and show you the completed rolling job. And then these are going to sit, going to cover them, and they're going to sit and rise for about 30 minutes. And I'm going to set my oven at 425 degrees. It's going to be a hot oven. And as you can see, these aren't all exactly the same size, but that's okay. They'll all bake pretty well. Anyway, the oven is set at 425 degrees, and the rack is set. The oven rack is set at about the lower center. And once that oven is set at 425 degrees and it goes off, and half an hour has gone by, I'm going to put these in the oven, and they'll bake for about 20 minutes. So once I've got this all taken care of, I will bring you back. So here are my 8 rolls. Now, you know, I think it's important that videos, recipes are brought to people in real time, that you don't have all these perfect things that go on when you're trying to bake or cook. And I think this is a great example of it. These are going to be delicious rolls. They may not all be the exact same size, but you know what? You're not a grocery store. You're not a professional baker. You're a baker from home that loves to give delicious, wonderful things to your friends and family. Now, are these too beautiful or what? I'm going to bring in a little bit so you can see these. Look at these. These are gorgeous, gorgeous rolls. Look at the bottom. Oh. Well, these are still very warm. And I'm going to let them cool off a little bit. And I've got some butter out, and I've got a man I know is going to be very anxious to give one of these rolls a try. We'll be back. You know, as I told them, these all, a lot of them are different sizes. And he's taking the biggest one. But you know, this is home baking. This is not a professional bakery. This isn't what you see on YouTube, these lush, gorgeous videos with people. You want to eat, don't you? Okay.
Someone once said, man does not live by bread alone.
So I'm going to, first of all,
that person obviously had never met me.
And look at the bottom, and you can hear it.
Let me smell it.
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you tear it open? And we'll show them the inside of it. Can you, this way? No, yeah, okay.
I didn't do a very good job.
That's all right. That's all right. Oh, but look at all the texture.
Looks
Oh, the texture there.
amazing.
All right. And I've taken some butter out. The real deal.
Okay, let's, you're going to have some, aren't you?
Of course. But I'm a purist. You know, I don't want to taste it with the butter.
Well, I'll taste it without the butter, too.
It just smells like $1,000,000.
I never smelled $1,000,000, but... Wow. That's a good biscuit.
It's a roll.
Roll.
A dinner roll. As you can tell, he wasn't here when I was making them.
Oh, I was out with the dead battery on my car.
Did you think it was a biscuit?
I don't know.
That's delicious.
What's the difference between a biscuit and a roll?
Yeast. That is so good.
Wow.
Okay. Here's the deal. This is a super easy recipe, as you saw. It is quick and easy to put together. It is fab. It's fab. And don't let those little things like I showed you, different sizes, don't let that scare you off. Because it's all good, right? All right, okay? Thanks a lot for watching. I want you to tell your friends out there about this channel, don't you? I want you to smash that like button because it sends things out into the algorithms and I get seen more. Check out my Facebook page because that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And thank you for taking this crazy ride that we take called
Bread. No. Life.
Life. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.